Hey, my name's Michaela, and today we're going over budgeting for 2021. This year has been a roller coaster for sure, and taught us a couple of things. But one thing, it's definitely taught us that we should get our finances in check. If you walked into 2020 with big dreams just to be knocked off your feet after 2 months, it's okay. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below for more videos on the home buying process, mortgages, financial literacy, market tours and updates, and so much more. Stick around to the end for a download link special for you. So, what do you do when everything goes wrong? Is it even worth it to make a budget for 2021 when everything is still so uncertain? What does budgeting look like? We're going to go over all of that today. First things first, we have to define our goals. When we're talking about goal setting in terms of finances, it doesn't have to be specific. It could be something super vague and far off in the future, or if you really do know what you want, it could be really, really specific. But our first tip is to think big and then go backwards. Your goals should feel big and scary. Otherwise, you're just kind of crossing things off a list, right? We want you to go big. What do you want in 2021? Where do you see yourself? Where do you live? What kind of car do you drive? What do you do for work? Do you have a side business? Think 5 years down the road. What about 10 years? What do you want? Think about those big goals and get them all down on a piece of paper. Brain dump it. Writing your goals down on paper helps them become more tangible. You can see them, you can visualize them, and they're not just thoughts swirling around in your head that you're never going to get to. Once you have a good idea of where you would like to be, now is time to ask yourself some hard questions about what those goals really mean and what it actually takes to get there. So, for example, say I have some pretty big goals. I want to buy my own home in DC one day. I want to drive a red Volkswagen Beetle, and I feel like I should have a little bit more extra cash saved up. I also would really like to be debt-free, pay off my student and car loans. So let's break those down a little bit. My goals are, I want to buy a house in DC. I want to drive a Volkswagen Beetle, a red one. I want to pay off all of my debt, student and car loans. And I want to build up an emergency fund. So now that I have these solid goals and ideas of where I want to be financially in the future, it's time to start asking questions about what those goals really are and how I can actually achieve them. Asking yourself questions about your goals can help you really get specific about what they are, how much it'll take to get there, and if you can actually do it. So, say you want to pay off your debt. Well, let's ask some questions. How much debt do you have? What's the exact number? How much are you paying currently on your debt? What's your rate on your debt? Is it one lump sum, or is it multiple debts that you're paying off at once? Do you have a timeline on your debt? If so, what is it? Can you shorten that? Do you want to? Big financial goals aren't always what they seem. There's hidden costs, fees, just things you would never really think about. So really research what you're trying to do and get to understand exactly what you need to do to get there. You may not have thought much about buying a new laptop, for example, but what about the warranty, maintenance, the programs you want to put on it, the case? So much more comes up. So let's dive deeper into the example of buying a home. My goal, I want to buy a home. Where do I want to buy a home? In DC. How much do I think I can afford? I'm going to say around $500,000. How much do I want to put down? I can do 5%. What other costs should I think about? So we've defined our goal. I want to buy a home in DC within the next 5 years. My budget is $500,000, and I think I have some pretty good credit. But what does it actually cost to buy a home? Many first-time buyers will say they didn't know about the hidden fees that come up when you're buying a home. They didn't expect to pay so much at the beginning, or they didn't fully understand their options when financing their home, so they pushed off their goal longer than they really had to. We're going to cover a few things that you should consider when you're buying a home. First thing, a down payment. We've broken down the 20% myth. A down payment could be anything as low as 3.5%, depending on the program that you use. So don't believe that you need to save up 20% of $500,000 for a house. That's a huge chunk of money. You can pay what's comfortable for you. It's also important to note that you can accept gifts from family to go towards your down payment. So factor that into your budget or savings plan. Closing costs. When you actually close on your home, there's a lot of costs that many people don't talk about. This includes fees paid to settlement agencies, lawyers, closing agents, and upfront fees such as mortgage insurance, homeowners insurance, so on and so forth. On average, you can expect to pay anywhere between 3 and 6% of the sales price of the home. So if you're buying a $100,000 home, your closing costs could be anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000. Moving costs. Are you going to hire somebody to help you move? If so, how much does that cost? Factor in those kinds of things when you're considering buying a home, because it adds up. Home maintenance. Things break all the time. When you own a home, it's your responsibility to fix those things that are broken. So factor in a budget for home repairs when you're considering buying a home. Also consider the furniture you might need to buy when you buy a home, because that's expensive too. So now that we know it's more than just a down payment to buy a home, let's readjust our goal. Assuming closing costs are between 3 and 6%, and I'm looking to put down 5% on a $500,000 home, I'm looking at a 5-year savings goal of roughly $47,500, which would break down to about $791 a month. That's a big chunk of money. Now that's completely dependent on my income, my credit, the rate on the house, and so much more. This gives me a better idea of what my goals should be and how I should plan for it. So do the same thing with your other financial goals. Whether you're looking to invest, planning a retirement, paying off debt, buying a home, or making any other large purchase, you should research the other costs that go into that decision. Another tip, ask for help. Track your expenses. From your net income, subtract the things that are the same every month. Fixed expenses are those costs that never change. Your rent, utilities, insurance, subscriptions, they're all fixed expenses. Also track your necessary spending like groceries, gas, transportation, whatever it may be. Then track everything else. You're spending on more than just what you need. For example, I have a really bad Starbucks habit that I thought I had in check. I don't. Track every single purchase. It'll shine a light on your spending patterns and give you an idea of places where you can cut from. Once you have a month or 3's worth of tracking your expenses, start to implement your budget. You don't have to go all in all at once. Instead, start adding little by little. Maybe month by month or week by week. Set little goals for yourself. Don't think of your budget as something bad. Think of it as something that's helping you get closer to reaching your goals. Maybe I don't have to completely give up my Starbucks habit, but maybe I could put a cap on it. For any budget to really work, you need to give it time, and you need to stick with it. Saving money for big financial goals isn't going to happen overnight. If you find after 6 months that maybe you could put away a little more, do it. If you find that you need to add something back to make you more happy, do that too. It's a tool that should be flexible and unique to your specific situation and goals. Pop down in the description below, we have a little download link for you with our free budgeting template. We've included tax brackets and things like retirement funds to help you get an idea of what a budget could look like. We also include a breakdown of your fixed versus necessary versus extra expenses and what that looks like in a graph. Make a copy, plug in your own numbers, and play around. We hope this gave you a good place to start on budgeting for 2021 and that you're getting excited about the goals that you're possibly going to reach. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that link down below to get your free budgeting template.